Hello everybody, and welcome back to Odin's movie vlog. I am the critic who is a Santa. Hope we're doing well, and today I decided, you know what, might as well do an update video on what is going on with my film/television preservation project, and maybe try and explain a couple of things, because I know that there are still some people that don't quite understand the reasoning behind it, especially when there are things out there like Pirate Bay and places like that where you could easily access a lot of the media. And so I hope to be able to explain that a little bit, but also to give you updates about where we are right now as far as the project is concerned. But the first thing I want to show you is that there is now a page for this project on the website that I use, ombreviews.home.blog. Yes, I know it's a mouthful. I'm working on it, but there is now a page there. When you click on it, you get updated here to a page where it has not only a link where if you want to continue to support this project, anything that gets donated via Streamlabs for the next, I think, 2 weeks or so is going directly towards this project. Or if you want to do something else, another way to support, which is kind of like the next phase of where we're in, there's also a link for that, which I will explain in a second. But let's go ahead and start off by explaining what we have done so far. So because of the money that you all helped to raise, we were able to purchase this bad boy. It's a Synology 5-bay NAS, Disk Station SDS 1019 Plus. So this is an amazing beast of a machine. What I loved about this was the fact that it has 5 bays, and so therefore it offers the ability to expand over time. And then there's also a plug in the back so that you can plug in another unit that's a little bit less expensive that also adds another 4 or 5 bays of storage as well. So I got this unit because it was very highly reviewed. Most people who talk about NASs, if you're going with just, ready-made, ready-to-go stuff without building your own, many people recommend Synology, and so I decided to go with this one. And luckily, there was actually a deal going on at Newegg where we were able to also get 2 of these WD-Red 10 terabyte drives with it, and it saved us around $170 when everything was said and done. So again, it was an amazing deal to get, which is why I actually even put up some of my own money from YouTube up towards it as well, in addition to the money that had been donated up to that point, and we were able to get that going. And so the server, again, which is being run on the NAS, on the 2 hard drives that I have, is currently up and running, and the project has actually already begun, and that's where we can get into the website itself. And just to explain a little bit about what the website says, basically what each category means and what it's all saying. So you have 3 different categories here. You have a film category, television category, and then in progress category. So anything that you see listed in film means that the film itself has been digitized. It has been made into that .iso file or that disk image file. And for those, again, wondering, okay, so what is the purpose of this project? Basically, the mindset I'm having is because we live in an era now where many films and television shows are either going to be erased from our history. Again, you already have DVDs not being made anymore. You have some companies trying to shut down the production of certain DVDs and Blu-rays of various shows and movies. You have them trying to go in and change the various films themselves on upcoming releases. Because we are living in this culture now where films could either be changed and altered completely or just done away with altogether, I think now is an important time for us to, again, especially myself as a huge physical media fan and someone that wants to promote physical media, and of course, as a physical media collector, want to do whatever I possibly can do to try and preserve this stuff in case the stuff actually ends up disappearing forever. And so the list of films, again, that you see there are all the movies that I currently have that have been backed up onto the server. The server is using a way where basically it's 2 drives, but it's only technically 10 terabytes of storage, which I know sounds counterintuitive. However, what it means is that if one of those drives ends up failing, which sometimes drives do, all of the data on there will be saved. All the data on there will be preserved and can be rebuilt when a new drive is introduced into the array, into the set of, again, 3 additional spaces that it currently has. And so I figured it was worth giving up 1 drive for the sake of being able to ensure any type of mechanical failure or issue that might pop up. Television category, again, similar to film, would be any TV shows that have been backed up. This is the one that's probably going to take the most time because most of the shows that we're going to be looking to preserve, looking to make sure that it's backed up and that it does not disappear completely from history, are going to be shows that are much older, which means that they probably only have maybe VHS releases or very early DVD releases and maybe haven't gotten any new DVD releases, or out of print and harder to find. Someone gave a great recommendation, which was the series In the Heat of the Night, which apparently has like 8 seasons worth, and I cannot find a single link to the entire series that's somewhat reasonable price because a lot of the series has just been out of print. So that's something that's going to be on my list the next time I go to my local, basically used bookstore or used Blu-ray DVD store, because you might actually find shows like that some people just don't want to have anymore there in at least having access to some seasons. So some shows might be a little bit more difficult to find than others, and that's again where you can kind of see the current process is basically trying to find out, okay, so what are the best films and TV shows for us to hunt down, for us to back up, and for us to get the process started on. And the last one is indeed the progress bar. So this means these are films or shows that I currently have access to and that I have not yet backed up, but I at least have access to them. And so the reason why I decided to put that up there is because when people were clicking on this link, which is the next thing I want to talk about, this is the link on the website. It's a new link. If you think you filled it out before, there was an older link where I was trying to get some ideas, but this is a new link, and it asks for a couple of different things. So this asks for you to list not only a movie, and just one per submission, you can actually submit multiple times, but not just one movie per line, right? So if you want to submit a movie, boom, you put the movie title here, put the year, preferably. That way I know if there's a different version or a different edition, I'm getting the right one. But also what I'm asking, which is different from the last time, is an explanation as to why you think this film or TV show, again, works the same way with the TV show, should be preserved. And basically the mindset there is that I have not seen every TV show ever made. I have not seen every movie ever made. And so I'm going to need some help as to why you think certain films and certain shows should be in the position of being preserved as such. And so here are actually some of the responses that we have been getting. And this is the reason why I wanted to make the video too, is because some of the suggestions have made some sense and others really haven't. Some have recommended things that they love, movies and TV shows that they love, but they really haven't given I would say, a good explanation as to why it would be in danger of going away or why it would be in danger of being altered in any way. And so that's why I actually wanted to point out a couple of the good ones, right? A couple of submissions that I think were done right. So the first one is The Green Mile 1999, which is actually a film I just bought because of this recommendation. So thank you to whoever recommended it, because it says here very clearly, it depicts law enforcement in a positive fashion. There are several racial slurs that are used in it as well. And then he even goes on to say, but this is obviously not something that should be priority because there's older films that are going to go out much more quickly. But because this one was easier to get, that's why it ended up, jumping up to the top. And also, as I said, he explains very clearly why it in all likelihood could be the film, or could be a film that could potentially get on the cancellation list. And then for TV shows, the one that I've liked the best so far is a show I mentioned previously, In the Heat of the Night. Again, gives me the year range on that, and it says here clearly, positive law enforcement, racial slurs, and racially charged content. The show is important to preserve. It will be heavily censored. And this one makes sense to me the most because it is so hard to find. Because there aren't a lot of copies of this show around, right? And so that's what I'm kind of looking for. So this is where you can come in, right? So obviously, if you want to donate, and you want to support the buying of an extra drive, right? Or getting more movies and DVDs, etc., right? Again, you can click on the Streamlabs link and donate there, and all that stuff will still go towards this project. But what is also important in the stage that we're in right now is the stage of trying to gather information. What are the movies and what are the TV shows that are the most at risk of disappearing, right? Of us losing access to, And as I mentioned, it seems like shows like In the Heat of the Night, because it is already so hard to find, are almost reaching that point. And we've only recently entered a time in history where law enforcement, for some reason, can't be portrayed in a positive light, right? Because of all the craziness going on in our world. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for as far as recommendations go. So there's a lot of movies and a lot of television especially that I have not seen or that I am not thinking of. And this is where you can come in. And so you're going to find a link to this in the description of this video directly to this film preservation page. And so what I want everyone to do is to click on this second link, the forums link, and I want you to nominate or suggest a movie, a television show. You don't have to put both. You can put one or the other, and you can, again, submit things multiple times. And I want you to please, again, as it says there, list the year, right? The year or years for a television series. That way I can just confirm what it actually is, but also give me a reason why, and make sure that you're descriptive enough for me to really understand and know why this specific film or this specific series is in danger of potentially going away, right? Because the whole point of this project is to make sure that it never goes away. And that if we ever do get to the point where a major studio totally blacklist a film or a show and no copies exist at any point in the future, that we do still have the capacity not just to access it on a site like going to the Pirate Bay, but to have an actual backup of the disc itself. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a backup of the entire disc with special features, scene breakdowns, every single thing that's on the disc. I am saving it in its full format, right? That's the difference of what I'm doing versus what a lot of other people do, again, in the people that are actually in the piracy business. Again, this is not about piracy with me. This is about buying the actual media itself, preserving it, right? Digitizing it, since I did buy the stuff. Me digitizing it is completely within my legal rights to do so because I'm using it, again, on my own personal server. But also, as I said, if it ever does come to the point where it is no longer even accessible for someone who wants to buy the product to cross that bridge when we get to it. And you can allegedly take that for however way you want. But that is the current state of the project. That is the stuff that we have bought so far with, again, your very generous donations. And so as I've said from the beginning, I wanted to be very transparent about the process, give you all the explanations as to what we've gotten, and basically talk to y'all about what current stage we're in. And right now, it's all about getting those suggestions. So again, head to this website. Again, if you want to support the project, go right ahead. Don't feel obliged to. At the very least, though, fill out the forms, fill out a film, fill out a television show with the years, and also, especially important, with an explanation as to why you think it should be preserved and why you think it could potentially disappear from the public discourse, because this project is all about trying to preserve those films and those TV shows so that it never goes away. Because as we all know, when we buy the movie, right, when we back it up for our own personal use, for our own personal server, guess what? The studio cannot come in and cannot touch that material. They can't change it like they can any digital copies you have on Vudu or Google Play or iTunes, etc. Also, not to mention, I know that many people are going to say, you know what, this seems like too much trouble, right? I think that I would much rather go the route of Pirate Bay, etc. Then, of course, at that point, you're running the risk of not only falling into some legal questionable territory, but also, too, the potentiality to get viruses, etc. All right. So anyway, hopefully that explains a little bit more about what the project is. Again, it's about preservation. It's about saving these things, right? It's not about, ooh, I'm going to get stuff out of this, right? It's instead, no, it's about a passion that I have, again, had for a long time, of physical media, and especially now in the age of cancel culture, wanting to make sure that these movies and shows never disappear and that they can always be saved. Because obviously having the physical media is important, but physical media can scratch over time. It can be canceled by a studio over time. And the purpose of this project is to try and ensure that that does not happen to the very best of the ability that I possibly can. So please, again, go to the website, make some recommendations, and I cannot wait to see what you recommend and the explanations why, because as I said, there's a lot of things that I have not seen myself, but I'm glad that people are recommending. Again, as I said, in the heat of the night. This is just the raw version of this where it's getting updated because Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 have since been updated, and I'm about to transfer them over into the server itself. But it's because of the recommendations here, especially of a show like In the Heat of the Night. That's actually now something I really want to hunt down and find all 8 seasons of, because there's a really good reason why that show would potentially disappear from existence, because it deals with a lot of issues that for some reason we just can't talk about in today's context. And especially seeing that we live in a world where, people that serve in law enforcement especially are being attacked, and anything that, positively presents them is getting either canceled or is just being taken out completely. I think it's important now more than ever to find this stuff while we can and have it preserved. You can do it on your own. Again, everything that I'm talking about right here, if you want to do it by yourself, if you say, hey, you know what, screw you, Odin, I'm just going to do it myself, you go right ahead. As long as it's being done to preserve the stuff that we're talking about, that's the important thing. I am just merely offering my sanity, my time, and my own resources, with your help, of course, to be able to do this project. So if you want to help, please, again, head to the website, click on the links, and let's do this. Anyway, hopefully this was a good update for you guys. Please let me know any of your thoughts in the comments section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe. It helps out a lot. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, DivX, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Honker Chonker Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Intertrap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Lady T, Laura Story, who is the modern Major General, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange at Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Benton, Tina Bojan, The DJD Show, and Tina B. Thank you all for being my Patreon members, and a huge shout out to my Subscribe Star members: Stand For, John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, Alex McCarthy, or J-Ox McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nevedon G. Adams, and ZK-Man. Thank you all so very much for being my Patreon and Subscribe Star members. Seriously, you are the wind beneath my wings. You help keep the lights on. You help support things like the giveaways for my $5 and up backers, and also allow me to do a lot of the extra stuff for the channel, including the exclusive OMB podcast that I do every couple of weeks with John, the Flick Pick of the Flick Pick channel. And yeah, thank you so much for your support. Don't want to really drag it out too long this month. You guys are amazing and beautiful people. If you want to have a name shout out, if you want to have access to giveaways, podcasts, any of that kind of stuff, check the links in the description for Patreon and Subscribe Star. You guys rock. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.